Hmm. There it is. All right, then go to this, go here, this, then do this. Off, on. Okay, all right. There we go. Okay, we're live. It's all yours.
I think so.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? Let me pull this closer. Pull it this way, like that. How's it going, everyone? It's good to see everybody. It's a lot of powerful stuff happening. So I just woke up from a nap. I don't feel good. Oh, it says Sandra Walters a guest. I knew I did something wrong. Okay, great. Let me fix that. So you want to talk to people? I fix it. Let's see. Hang on. Thank you for telling me that. Yeah. I knew I forgot to do something. I'm gonna have to fix that while you're talking. Thanks, Paul.
Didn't you just fix it?
No, I don't think it won't fix right away. That's okay. So anyway, that's what happens when you're sleeping. Okay, so we wanted to talk about, uh-oh, hang on. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so we wanted to talk about what, the last 2 weeks? So you had, I think Jason Estes talking about the Monday and Tuesday. Sandra Walter, who was on today, was talking about the influx Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and she actually said it was more than an influx. Franco Di Nicola was talking about today, being today was an influx, and everyone was talking about what happened at the equinox, and that was some type of point where things were initiated or on or about that time. So we had a lot of stuff happen to us over the last 12 days that were the biggest expansions we've ever had. And we decided, or Morgan, you know how she doesn't like to come on? Her body, her being told her it was time to come on to discuss what's going on, to share our experience and anything else that we can. So while I fix this, you can talk. And thank you everybody for coming in Zoom and YouTube. And I'll fix the title and on the Facebook pages. So where did you want to start?
Well, I think we're going to do this just to share our own personal experience.
Okay.
It doesn't mean, that it's right or wrong or whatever. I mean, we know that everyone's been experiencing huge stuff, but we thought we'd just come on and just share what we've been through and what it's looked like for us. That's, I guess that's it, really. It's just us sharing our own personal experience.
Yeah.
Classes are so dirty.
Yeah. Starting with what? What do we start
I
with?
think starting with probably about, I think it was about 4 weeks ago, and I got the very direct intel that a lot of the females on the planet were about to do a huge leap in stepping into their own power. The intel that I got personally for me was that it would be much quicker and much easier for me to do what I needed to do, like without the distraction of Todd. So as soon as I said yes to that, everything just lined up. And before I knew it, I had somebody had given me a ticket to Kansas. So I went and spent 9 days in Kansas. While I was there, I was asked to specifically pull up the people that I felt estranged from, or I felt resistance to, or that felt resistance to me. And I was asked to write lists of all of their really positive qualities and the polar opposites. So, for example, one of the things I wrote a list for somebody, I wrote down, this person is beautiful. And so the polar opposite for that was ugly. And I got a real shock to realise that there was still a part of me, an unconscious part, that actually felt ugly. So I went through for the next couple of weeks and worked on everybody that I felt resistance to or that had resistance to me, and did that. And every person I did was amazing, because it was almost like in the resistance, I pushed the whole person away, including their great qualities. So the mirrors that I'd created for myself that were no longer around was, that because I'd pushed that away, was making me feel emptier and emptier and emptier, which was good because it was a detachment. And then I arrived back. Within a few days, I said to Todd, I can feel the energy of chaos, that's about to come. And he looked a little bit worried. And I said to him, there's such an excitement around this chaos. I don't know what it is, but, it seems like a really good thing. So I kept concentrating on zero pointing through all the dualities of anyone I could think of that either had resistance to me or I had of them. And it was an extraordinary couple of weeks. And then on the 17th of March, Todd was on a live. I just thought that I'd go and sit outside for a while. 3 different rays of energy came in. I had my eyes closed, so it was almost like a meditative state. And I had a magenta ray, like a spectrum green type ray, which is the ray that you might see, the green that you might see in the aurora. Is that what it's called, the aurora?
Aurora borealis.
Yeah. And an aqua blue ray. So I was just watching those for a few minutes, and then I felt like I was going to faint. So I thought I better go inside. I walked inside and started vomiting. So I thought I'd go and lay down. Todd got off his live and came to see me and got a shock to see what I looked like. I don't know, he's not here, he's just there, but he could see that something huge was happening. While I was laying outside after the rays came, I was asked to pull, like I saw this huge shadow spectrum, and I was asked to pull all of that shadow that I could see into my being, which I agreed to do. If I'm told something from my higher self or source or whatever you call it, I follow those directions. So I brought that in, and very shortly after that is when I felt faintish and nauseous and everything. So I went and laid down for a while. Todd came in and he walked in the room, thought that I looked, what did you think that I looked like?
You look like hell.
I looked like hell.
You look horrible.
Like you said that my face looked different and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wasn't myself at all. And he became aware very quickly that of what he called a black box within my womb.
Yeah, it was like it looked like God, I wish I could remember what the hell I'm talking.
You said it had all dents in it.
Yeah, it looked like it was spherical, but it had like edges to it. So it was like a black ball, almost like a cube, but it had more of a cylinder thing. It had all these dimples in it, and it was basically showing me that that it was all this trauma that was imposed on the feminine energy, on the feminine frequency or energy, and I just started clearing. I just started working with it to clear it, and I watched it clear. I watched it dissipate. It didn't clear like it transformed, and then it shot out through her crown.
Yeah. So these lists that I was asked to do were predominantly females.
Yeah.
To actually.
Might have been something like that. Dectahedron. That's what I was asking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So predominantly I needed to bring up any females that I was estranged from or had a resistance to, whatever, and list down their positive, their great attributes, their great qualities, and then look for the polar opposites to 0 point them, because, and they explained to me, as like if a friendship or something breaks down, or like even family members or whatever, and you push them away because of the negative attributes, then what also goes at the positive attributes, which are the mirrors to you. So if you shut down on somebody, you're shutting down not only their shadow, but their golden, I think it's called golden shadow, like that goes as well. So, by doing the exercise that I did and 0 pointing all those things, I was able to, it was so beautiful, because I was able to, even though, the wounded child, or there was a part of me who felt rejected or neglected by certain people that I loved, by saying yes to their positive aspects, I was bringing the mirror that they were back into myself.
Yeah.
And that was really, it was extraordinarily empowering.
Yeah, and I think too. So like the thing is like this is the modality that you've downloaded for a long time. I've worked with it. I've watched other people work with it, but the main thing that I think was coming in was I think maybe all of us were doing this. I know I was doing it. I know you were always doing it, but bringing in these people that make you uncomfortable until you feel equal to them, they're equal to you. But the thing that was different about this was she was making lists of their attributes. And oftentimes when we're dealing with people that we've had problems with or we don't like, we don't look at their positive attributes. And I watched her transform doing it. And then the interesting thing was I watched a couple of our friends who consulted with Morgan, and really I think they were on more than one occasion, and how they were actually elevating using the same exercise. So it wasn't just figuring out what you saw in somebody else that you didn't see in yourself that you might not like in that other person, but these were things that with people you may not have liked that actually had attributes that
you loved.
Yeah, and that you didn't see in yourself. Like you said, the thing about being pretty, but I think that's
so for me it was an exercise of, and I was told before I left, the females on this planet are about to step into their full power, and they need to do this with no distractions. So for me, my higher self said, you need to go and do this by yourself. You don't even need Todd as a distraction. It's going to be quicker, easier to do it by yourself. So I did. I listened, and off I went. And that was the information that I got while I was gone. So that, with the black box, me bringing the shadow in,
so that was
the rays that came in, and everything was on the 17th of March. The 18th, we had a day off. We connect most nights, but we had the 18th off for human things to do that needed to be done. It doesn't matter.
What was it?
I can't remember.
We had a date.
Oh,
yeah. It was hot.
Oh,
anyway, well, yeah.
Okay, so then on the 19th,
you got to tell them everything.
So on the 19th, and this wasn't the first experience of it. It had been hanging around for a week. We kept having a silver dragon coming around to us, working with us, and there was one dragon that was, it would merge with me a little bit, and it would merge with him a little bit. It came and told us that it was here to clear out the shadow, to help us with anything that we needed, to remove or transform of 3D, lower vibrational sorts of energies. And that dragon came to us numerous nights. But on the 19th, this particular night, when it merged with me, what have I got written here? Oh, okay. So the silver dragon merged with me on the 19th. And as it was merging, my hands turned into big, giant, like round discs. Both hands did it, which was like amazing. And I didn't think to ask. I still don't know what it was, but there's a part of me that says maybe it was, if we've got chakras in our hands, maybe it was an activation of hand chakras. But then it came up and it merged. Its face came in front of me and merged with my head. The most profound experience happened. It was almost like something cracked inside of my head. I heard it. I felt it. It felt like a chiropractic. When all your bones crack, it started off in one place and it went out it felt like a whole bunch of neural pathways or something like that. And it was like all this cracking sound. It was almost scary. It was almost frightening. We didn't know what that was. And I know enough, whatever I do in dimension or whatever happens energetically, it's going to take my very slow human brain, 2 to 5 days to actually catch up. So I just okay, well, that was weird. I'm still here. I'm alive. I think there was a moment when, oh my God, is this an aneurysm?
Yeah.
I actually went, oh,
yeah.
Shit, what was that? I thought for a moment, maybe it's an aneurysm. So then the next night, the 20th.
Friday the 20th.
So Friday the 20th, the dragon came back again. We were, as we are every night, we go to sleep with palms touching. As soon as we do that, it's like that's when everything starts. So the single dragon came back again that night, and it was talking to us. It's helping us clear stuff, letting go of things or whatever, which is every time the dragons come, it helps us do that sort of stuff. But then behind this dragon, which I hadn't realised up until this happened, that was a male dragon. It was a masculine energy dragon that had been working with us. And behind him stepped another silver dragon. And so then there were 2 dragons. So the male dragon stayed with me and the feminine dragon came over to Todd. And wanted to merge. Like the masculine dragon wanted to merge with me. Do we go this deep? I think we should.
Yeah, they said that
which has never happened before. Usually when they merge, it's just like a soft merging with us and it creates all sorts of things. But on this night, these 2 dragons, the male hovering over Todd and the the female hovering over Todd and the masculine hovering over me, and I feel a bit embarrassed to say this, but it happened. They asked us if we would, how do you put this?
Well, they didn't say it that way.
Yes, they did.
They said that this one is to enter and one is to be entered, is how they put it.
Oh, nicely put.
Oh, you're welcome.
So the masculine dragon actually wanted to literally enter me.
Yeah.
And the female dragon was on top of him. And they basically was almost like, and I'm sure it wasn't, but like for the humans, it felt like each dragon was going to have sex with us.
Yeah.
Which, like, I actually had to stop it and say to Todd, are you getting what I'm getting? And he said, yes. And I said, are we going to agree to do this?
Yeah.
And we both said yes. So it was almost like, if there was any jealousy or ownership or anything like that, that was the moment that we went, yep, okay, let's do it. It started, but before it actually turned into, it wasn't sexual like humans do sexual. But there was a merging that happened, the female with him and the male with me. And as quickly as that was happening, at the same time, the 2 dragons were merging together and the 2 humans were merging together. And before we knew it, the whole 4 entities.
All 4 became one. Yeah. And actually the dragon, well, I saw it that way. I saw the like when the dragon and I entered into cosmic copulation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
The dragon, as soon as I felt the sensation, it was Morgan. So I'm looking at the dragon and I said, wow, you're a pretty hot dragon.
That's true, yes.
You know, and then
the dragon, as
yeah.
soon as it started, all I could see was Todd. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like we were the dragons, which we understand that all the aspects that have come to us and that fill the room at night, like 2 nights ago and 3 nights ago, these are our aspects. Sandra Walter talked about that today. A lot of people do.
It's just energy of us.
Yeah. So
it's only really metaphors or symbols showing us, teaching us what we need to know. Yeah. So I mean, that didn't last long, but we both knew that it was, you know, something huge had happened, something that we'd not experienced before. I woke up the next morning, so Saturday the 21st, and I was exceptionally, and I don't experience it a lot, but I was exceptionally emotional. You know, I was trying to put little funny videos on, you know, to lift myself up, and I'd still end up in tears. And then I'd play music and I'd end up, you know, I was very, very teary nearly all day.
Yeah. So this lady made a comment. She said she scanned the energy of what you're saying. It wasn't sexual, which we really weren't saying it was sexual. It's merging, you know, which we've done many times. It was
a different sort of merging, though, because they said, they actually told us that we were going to have sex with them.
Yeah, but
I think that was just so we would completely detach and trust in the universe or the process. But the sex thing didn't actually happen.
Well, okay, so and we got to look. This work with the Silver Dragon really kind of culminated or broke through. This would have been
I'm talking came.
Yeah, I'm talking about when he identified himself as the 13th dragon, the master dragon. So this dragon energy had been working with us, and it started at the root. And then if we fast forward to the time period she's talking about, those preceding days when it would come, we were clearing the sacral. And that's why I was mentioning her comment, because she said she saw it enter the heart with some type of code within the sacral.
Yes,
so
it did. It
so
was working on the sacral.
So there was a lot
shadow within the sacral.
Yeah. So there was something to do with the creative energy, the sacred sexual energy, power center being cleared.
And I can't remember what it was, but yes, I can. It cleared like shame within the sacral chakra.
Yeah. It was clearing, and it continued. I mean, it's still going on really with me, but yeah, I think that's important to remember. This is an energetic or consciousness or entity or whatever you want to call it that represented what they called the 13th dragon, which was kind of the way I saw it was like an expanded level of say the 12 base dragons. You know, it was very significant. We talked to Hung about it.
We knew it was the 13th dragon, but interestingly, when this masculine dragon presented the feminine energy, it let us know it acts and it is as one. You know, it doesn't make it the 13th and the 14th. Together, they were one energy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I had extreme emotion on Saturday. I really, that continued Sunday. Sunday night, I spoke to a couple of friends. Well, that's not true. I spoke to my ex from 20 years ago or whatever, who I'm very, very good friends with, and listened to him and all his fear about, you know, what's going on the planet at the moment, and try to help him. And then I spoke to my son, who had just a little bit of it as well. And I really got triggered from it. You know, I ended up saying to Todd later that night, I'm going home. I have to go home. Like, and this is how I feel in the morning. You know, this is how I feel in the moment. I'll make a decision in the morning. And Todd's like, yep, if you need to go home, just go home. When I woke up the next day, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going anywhere. And I realized that I had actually really slipped into something that's not somebody else's fear. You know, it was explained to me that, you know, the fear's all right or whatever, but my job is to do whatever it takes to remain centered and balanced and enjoy and not buy into anyone else's stuff, including my own. So that was those days, 25th. Okay, so then it was a few days later, Wednesday the 25th, and we joined our hands again, and the two silver dragons, which is actually, they showed us they are one, came back again, and they were talking to us, helping us remove, you know, little bits of old programming or whatever, which we agreed to do. And then just with our hands like this, all of a sudden, my right hand did exactly the same thing that my head did, like I think a week to the day. First, I felt like a probe being pushed in my right elbow. Like it felt like something was going in. It was so much so that I was grabbing my arm, like I had my hand on Todd's, thinking, what is that? What is that? And let go. And then it happened again, and then I let go, and then all of a sudden, like all this electric sort of energy and all the cracking and everything happened in my hand, so much so that Todd heard it.
Yeah, I heard it.
Todd all heard it, and it reminded me very much of a chiropractic adjustment. You know, when he went all through my hand, the electricity was so much that I actually lifted my hand right off his, which I never do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were sort of left around, well, what the hell was that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
one of the things that, because you're already here, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that one of the many things that came in these 12 days was this part of a transmission one night was in regard to people being you know, isolated in their houses, and the power
that's
of
here.
Okay.
So every night that those things, we got downloads and everything. So I just went through like the dates, and now I've written notes about some of the stuff that we were told through all of that time.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Go on.
No. And the reason I brought it up was because that night that she went into fear was pretty freaky. You know, well, it wasn't freaky. It would have been like 6 months ago or a year ago. And I'm just saying, because really like where the collective energy is, where my own energy is. But one of the things, and she's going to talk about that, what I just brought up, but one of the things that I got from watching her go into fear, and it's just me and her here, is that because that particular transmission came back, was how much our transmitters, or as transmitters we all are, how much that's been heightened, and how we can get, you know, on one hand, we are more sensitive to the higher balanced energies, the higher vibrational energies, but at the same time, if we're immersed in or exposed to the lower vibrational energies, because of the enhancement of our transmitter part of us, because of what's going on, we can fall into it. And that was kind of my own intel that was coming to me, like, hey, see this for what it is. Don't get pulled into it, which I didn't. I just said, if you need to go, go, and just kind of heard it. But I just thought it'd be important because we can get pulled back, and I think we're being supported if we continue to keep, you know, stay in our heart, like you talked about earlier, and Sandra talked about today. That's really where it's at. But it can happen, so just be careful.
So I just wrote a few things down here, because every time that the Silver Dragons came to us and worked with us, we would be given different information. I usually write about this stuff, but I mean, it's been so overwhelming. It's and like almost every day, I think in that whole period, we had 2 days off, like just to be human. It's been so much and so big that, you know, it's like, how do you even write about this? But we got some really interesting intel. It came to us. I mean, it's for us. I think it's so important to really discern, you know, does this sit with you? Doesn't it? Like, does it? And really just listen to your own self. But this is our live at the moment. We're just talking about our own experience. We were told very early, I think in the first visit from the dragon, and wow, I'm really struggling to do this because of the information I get. We were told that
Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about don't talk about it. We were told don't talk about it, don't give it any energy.
You're talking about it around the equinox, so the night after the equinox.
Yeah, well, okay. So no, before that even, you know, when it all started coming coming up, and it was like, you know, don't talk about this thing. Don't give it any energy. Not from the fear base,
I thought
or
you were
even
talking about
from the savior base. You know,
Yeah.
you know, something like this is going to trigger. We were told something like this is going to trigger the wounded archetype, and a lot of people are going to want to do, you know, savior type meditations and all that sort of stuff. A lot of people are going to, some people are going to turn it into jokes and do memes. Some people are going to want to talk about it from a fear-based perspective, and some people are going to want to talk about it from the savior thing. Oh, let's pull everyone together and do a meditation, you know, to save the planet. And we were very, very strongly told, don't give it any energy at all. Trust the perfection of the whole plan that you all created. You created this. We were told that it was created because the even though, you know, the mother goddess energy has never actually been gone, but it has been hidden. It's been in the background. And we were told it couldn't come forth and try to be present in a wounded, false power, patriarchal energy. And so the plan to collapse everything that had been created through the false power, masculine power, each time more and more of it collapsed, more and more of the mother goddess energy could actually embody on the planet. That she couldn't be here in her full power with all of those old systems and old programs and old false power energies existing here as well. So, you know, we haven't partaken in any, and not to say that it's wrong, but we were told not to partake in anything that looks like, oh, my wounded healer archetype's been, and I need to help fix everything for everyone, which is a very different energy from natural kindness. So, you know, we were directed very strongly to stay away from anything that looked like that. We were also told very early on, and you know, we all get our intel, and it's very hard on the human to try to discern, even from our own intel, what's true and what's not. But we were told very early on that there were 2 strains that had been created and put out. One strain was just, you know, if you get a runny nose or a sore throat or whatever, that you might believe that you had it. So it was a watered down strain. And interestingly, there's actually 2 names for it, which we noticed afterwards too. So we're told there's 2 strains. There's one that will actually go out and help take people from the planet who have chosen to do it. And the other strain was to go out to keep eliciting more fear and more fear and more fear, because we all know, you know, as we face our fear and when we walk through our fear is where we find our gold. So it was shown to us very clearly that the divine perfection of the creation. Am I going to talk about this, Todd?
You kind of did, yeah. And I think,
okay. So we were shown that there were some on this planet who their souls knew that they were going to leave, and we were shown that each soul who was agreeing to leave was going to. God, this is weird. We even thought it was weird, but I'm going to say it. Take it. It might be true. It might not be true. I don't know, but that each soul that had agreed to leave through this incredible creation was going to lift with them, grab, collect,
take
any fear-based energy within a 72-mile radius of them. And that, you know, just before they, God, this sounds awful, just before they died, they were going to collect that lower vibrational shadow energy, bring it into their heart. When they died, it would be transformed automatically into pure love. So this was the job. They'd agreed to take the true strand, the COVID-19, is that what it's called? That they were absolutely intentionally going to help clean the planet. So that was their way of helping do this, and that the ones that were staying, whether they contracted the watered down strain of it or not, their job was to remain in absolute centeredness, balance, pure love, and not get involved in, do their absolute best not to get involved in the fear. And we were showing that so many of those people who were choosing to stay are the ones that are automatically feeling joy and excitement.
Yeah.
Like they know that, this is the creation. These ones agreed to go, and they said that they're going to take the lower vibrations, as much of the lower vibration as they could with them.
Yeah.
And the ones that chose to stay they would do their best to mind their own business and stay right out of it, not buy into Wounded Healer creations or anything at all.
So, and this information was coming in at the same time
Each night that the dragons came.
Yeah. Now, right around the equinox, I think it was the night after the equinox, we saw the grid. We were told that there had been kind of like a target or an objective that was set, and this has been talked about in a lot of sacred texts and such. We won't get into the particulars, but we were told and saw the grid that this target had been achieved and had been achieved on the equinox. And this was what you were talking about, what Morgan was talking about, in terms of the goddess energy being able to come, because there'd been enough of, let's just say, the lower vibrational energy moved out or transformed. And so these folks that are choosing to transition at this time, that are taking all the shadow they can with them to be transformed within 72 miles, are really, this was being told to us around the same time, really with the same kind of message, which was to clear more and more and more space for this the mother goddess energy to come in,
to embody and anchor
yeah.
back on the planet, and then to be part of creating new collaborations, new groups, new gatherings, that they're 100% focused on the things that we do want to create for the new earth, rather than buying into something over there needs healing.
Yeah. So there was
what else have we got?
It's a good, to me, that was a really good thing to hear, because it let me know from a higher perspective how it's all working. Because of course, from the higher perspective, we're not seeing right and wrong and dark and light. We're just seeing energy. So they're actually pulling that energy out. That's part of the, that's part of the team. That's part of the program. One part of it, and I thought it was very validating.
But I mean, I can understand, like, to hear that and go, oh, that sounds a bit weird or whatever. But I mean, the importance is that everyone listens to their own self, take in what resonates. If it doesn't resonate, just get rid of it. What's this one?
Which one?
Who's James? Energetic ring, false patrick.
What's all pretty much?
Well, this one, the importance of loving the
Oh,
shadow.
yeah. I should get one of those.
No, because you can't see it on there. I know there's so much more.
Well, we'll just flow into it. But I think it's good to go back to, Sandra talked about it today. She put it.
I know we haven't spoken about the conceiving of the around the equinox. Yeah.
But she put this in a really good way, because we just want to be clear. There's the fear-based programming that we're all very aware of, and not to allow it to pull you off the 0 point. And then there's what I've been calling the savior-based programming, which, I'm going to be frank about it, like QAnon and stuff like that. And I'm not against any of this stuff. I'm just saying I saw, and it was nice talking to Sandra today about it, because the way she put it, she said, you can't be over here cheering them on, cheering the demise of whatever you want to call it, the dark energy. You can't be cheering that on. That's the same thing as being, seduced by fear-based programming. And I think that's really important. We're here to hold no charge. We're here to hold a neutrality.
To love all of it, see the perfection of all of it. That there are many ways up a mountain, and no matter what way we go, it's okay. And if somebody is going to enlighten themselves through, following QAnon, and I shouldn't comment because I don't know anything about QAnon at all.
Yeah, but it's not, yes. But what I was getting at, and what she was saying, was that you can be pulled off neutrality by, think about it. If we created everything, how can we be neutral if we're cheering the demise of part of creation? That's like we're damning something that we've created. So our job is to be neutral, which is really what all of this work that we've all been doing for all these years has been about, has been to clear, bring further alignment, further balance. And then the big thing that really came out that to me like got really super extenuated in this period over the last week to 2 weeks was the shadow. The shadow, we've always seen the shadow. Some of these experiences we had, I saw the shadow come in these blacks and grays with metallics, which Morgan just by accident had started doing mandalas in these colors.
And shadow colors, yeah.
And I saw them at one point, this was about 3 or 4 nights ago, we were being pulled back to the earth. You know, almost like when we do soul work and we want to pull back soul aspects that we've given away through sexual encounters or past lives or oaths or contracts or vows. It was almost like that. I saw all these mandalas, that these geometric shapes that had these blacks and grays and silver metallics, and it was the shadow ornated. And I watched them all, beautified, all pulled back to the earth.
Which is what we're meant to be doing. You know, when we can land in a place for absolute gratitude, compassion, kindness, like pure love for things in our past, and see the perfection of our own creation, own all of it, but not just own it, but actually go, wow, I was so clever creating that rejection from this dear sister or beautiful friend that I loved. I don't know how it happened, and I've been hurt for but now it doesn't even matter. I just love her. I love the mirror that she was to me. You know, I love what's going on at the moment. I'm in absolute joy and gratitude, which makes it very tricky. You know, Todd walked up the street a couple of nights ago, and there's a lady a little bit further up that talks to him regularly, and she's like, you know, how are you going, and talking, and all these other neighbours like came over, and they all were talking about, you know, the catastrophe and the fear and the, and you know, they turned around and asked Todd, you know, how do you feel? And he said, I'm really excited. And Todd said, you know, they all went like cross-eyed. They didn't even know how to relate to that. But he was able to honor and respect and have absolute gratitude for where they're at and the fear that they're in. He was also able to speak his own personal truth, which is, I am really excited about what I'm seeing going on here. Then we know that we've done our work. You know, if anything, you know, any thought that I have is really a 3D construct of the brain. You know, I can let those thoughts go and go into my heart, and I just feel absolute joy. Well, how can I feel joy when I've got no toilet paper and I have to use Todd's socks?
How did this turn into a comedy?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just a dick sometimes. No, I don't really have to, but I will if I need to. But, you know, to do whatever we danced last night, like on a live, which I still can't believe that I did, but, you know, just to have fun, to know that, you know, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to pray for people. This is a divine plan that we have all orchestrated to perfection. And if I do feel like I have to do something other than, you know, your normal kindness, kind gestures, helping people, you know, your brothers and sisters if need be. But, you know, to be really aware, is my wounded archetype coming up and feeling like I have to be a savior, I have to fix something or whatever, because there is nothing to fix. This is probably one of the most perfect, and everything's perfect, but for me, one of the most perfect things that we've all created ever on the planet.
Beth said get cloth diapers. Yeah, you
Cloth
know.
Diapers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not wearing diapers.
So, yeah. Oh, and Tom. Oh no, Tom, I can't repeat what you said.
Don't read anything of Tom's out.
But you know, it's like it's really making a lot of sense to me now, because we've all struggled with. We've spent more time struggling with.
Oh, we haven't spoken about this yet either.
Yeah, we've spent more time struggling with external things we disassociated from or separated ourselves from, meaning political organizations, religious organizations, cultural differences, people, ex-spouses, mother, father, all this stuff. This is stuff that we've struggled to learn to love. But what's even more impactful, okay, and really those things can't really be neutralized until these shadows are loved. And it's more than just transforming them. And to me, it's gone to a different level. It's actually loving all those things like she was talking about, because when we do that, these things on the external we see them in a whole different light. And I think that's kind of where we're at.
And I think even stop calling it shadow, maybe, if it makes it easy, and look at it as old program from an old matrix that I'm conscious enough to go, okay, I need to neutralize all of that. And, there are so many different ways to do it. I have a specific way which works brilliantly for me. I have a lot of clients that are using it that, their feedback is just like brilliant as well. It's doing whatever you can to recognize when I'm in an old program that was created from the 3D matrix that I no longer want to be a part of. Not that I'm making it wrong, because, the 3D matrix was a beautiful gift to all of us as well. I don't regret anything from my life in that. And we were only talking this morning, how much time do we think we're still spending in the 3D matrix, in the 4D matrix, in the 5D, and for me, I feel like I'm in and out of it. I can definitely tell when I've dropped down into that fear-based lower vibration too. One thing that happened during that time, which I think was on the night of the equinox, we weren't told to the following day, that, and I don't want to do separation because I just don't want to.
You're losing me.
Well, I'm talking about we were shown that all the divine conscious unions had conceived a third energy, like a new third energy. And in saying that, it doesn't matter if you're in a human partnership at all, because a lot of people have, spiritual, they're, God, I hate labels. Their divine union counterpart might be in the spirit, in another realm. It doesn't even matter. But we were told that 144,000 partners, divine union partners, had conceived a third energy, being the golden child, and that in 9 months' time, that golden the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the golden child, that triad, that perfect trinity would be embodied back upon the planet.
Yeah.
And that's going to be what, December 22nd or whatever.
Yeah.
Or early December, it doesn't even matter.
The solstice.
For the solstice, for the energy of the solstice. So this planet will have that trinity energy. Oh my God, I'm looking at this. I just saw this. And I was told years ago that we're moving out of duality and into trinity. And so that's somehow a part of all of this as well. But we were shown that 144,000 had conceived the trinity, the third energy that was going to be anchored back on this planet in December. I don't even know if it's true or whatever. I loved it. I didn't say it. It was said to me, and I thought, wow, this is brilliant. I don't even know what that means yet. I just know that it's brilliant.
But that came around the time too, with the explanation of that the goddess energy couldn't land, or couldn't
truly
fully,
fully anchor here with all of the creation that was from the false masculine patriarchal energy, that needed to collapse first. And as it collapses, as each thing collapses, more and more and more of the true mother goddess energy would actually be anchored back upon the planet. And then after all this is over, then we need to all get together, collaborate, and have pure gatherings of what we do want, not looking at what we want to fix or what we're judging as wrong, but actually start collaborating their energy and meditations or whatever to create the new that we do want.
Yeah. And so if you look at that as energy, these 144 creating a golden child, a third energy, if you look at that as an energy, that's, to me, that fell in line with when we received the information about she's able to come now because enough of the energy's been cleared out. That makes a lot of sense. The other thing I think that's kind of interesting about it too, because there's so many different aspects to this, especially when you're trying to understand it from a human standpoint. It can get kind of complicated, but I think it's kind of funny and actually kind of serious that this whole kind of worldwide quarantine starts at the equinox. We get the information that, hey, conception just occurred and the baby's going to be born in 9 months. And you think about how many babies are going to be born in 9 months.
Maybe.
And, I mean, energetically, it actually matches. And we all have seen these children that are stepping up a little bit, becoming more visible. And even in our own personal lives, they carry a tremendous frequency, and where nothing even has to be discussed. You just hang around them and it affects you. So that's interesting.
There's so much more, but that's condensed down, isn't it? I mean, maybe, I don't know if there are any questions, not that we know the answers, but we might, because I mean, there's so much more there, but they're the basis.
Yeah, there's a few comments in here. People, somebody said they saw an eagle. Eve also said an eagle showed her a golden egg.
Mm.
Courtney, a child will lead them. And we're talking energy, and I think that all absolutely fits. Yeah, and I have a question after everybody else's questions.
For who?
For who?
You have a question to who?
Well, we'll see. Well, you'll see who it's for. You'll see who it's for. Yeah, so I think for the most part, we covered everything pretty much.
I just remember then, when all that crackling happened in my head, and then a week later on your hand, and we asked, I asked on the night, what was that? Because I thought, oh my God, is this an aneurysm? Yeah. So when I asked, the answer came. It was an activation of the God seed particle being activated. Yeah. And told that, when that happens, that the Hara line automatically opens up.
Yeah.
So it's been so much. We've both been well, you don't get overwhelmed with it. I've been really overwhelmed with how much. And in all the years we've been doing this, I think 2 nights ago, that was a little bit scary. It's like the walls disappeared, the ceiling disappeared, the whole room was jam-packed full of entities and energies or whatever, so much so that they were bumping into it and jumping. We've noticed I think a significant leap in our telepathy, in synchronicities, in the strength of the universal communication connection. Yeah. So we're noticing things, expansion. Yeah.
Things are more depending on the sense you're talking about, like more visible. I'm getting a lot more audible, especially when things are happening and we're being told stuff and it gets really loud. It happened today when I was on the show with Sandra Walter. It happened 3 times. Somebody asked, I'm sorry, I think it was Michelle, asked a question that a lot of people ask, and I don't think either one of us are prepared to answer it, but I would just give my opinion. But she says, will there be more conscious unions? My take on that is, after
we've shown that there were, and I have been inundated with messages from people saying this is happening, this is happening. Should we be what's Helios Gamos? Can you explain how Helios Gamos works? How do I do it? So I think the answer to that is yes, without absolutely knowing, but like from what we're experiencing and what I'm feeling, absolutely yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And the reason I was going to say is because after hanging around you for 4 years, and looking at it, everything as being energy, it only makes sense that there's a more balanced energy or relationship in the realm now, which, it produces copies of, just like we attract the same energy we are, the same thing, if you have a prevalent energy of a pretty much balanced and aligned relationship between masculine and feminine, I would say that yes, absolutely it would happen. It's certainly seen that way. let's see. Do anybody else have a question? Did you?
Didn't we get a message? So in February, we got, or I got, okay, bring as many of the conscious unions, divine unions,
Yeah.
the couples in as possible. So I think I booked about 23, 24 of them.
Yeah.
Didn't even know why I did it. I just like that this needs to happen. And I think we were given a message a couple of nights ago about there are no mistakes. Okay. Yes, this is right. So we were showing that there were no mistakes that this is happening, because as the couples connect, they share their codes with the you know, like it doesn't matter if Todd just sees the couple, like whatever he gets, I get anyway. So talking to other people, connecting with other couples that have got their codes, you know, all of us. It doesn't even matter if you're a couple or not. Every single one of us is like an intrinsic part of the puzzle of what we are all doing. So I don't know. I'm not talking too much.
No, you're not. You're talking more than you usually do. So yeah, okay. So that's very true. Like you know, and I guess this is the reason I am saying this is because I've experienced it. Now I'm getting confirmation. Okay, so when two people connect and become that one, you know, are able to merge in oneness for sustainable periods of time or whatever. Yeah, when she gets something, I get it now, and vice versa. But the other thing that we were shown is that energetically, and this I guess could be from an individual who's got a balanced, you know, masculine and feminine, when they're aligned in their heart and they're setting out to do something on behalf of serving the collective, that they're actually pulling from all of those balanced energies on the grid that we saw lit up and holding up primary points on the grid.
Yeah.
So there's an expansive.
We all have access to each other.
Yeah.
You know, once we've done enough work, once we've become responsible for our own shadow, we know how to we've zero pointed all the old programs, we automatically become part of the new grid. So we all have access to each other, to each other's energy, to each other's knowledge. And it's not from you know, the other thing we were told too is very, very strongly, do not send your energy out to anything or anyone. Trust and know that they're doing that for themselves. The most powerful thing that we can do at the moment is, even in a couple, just send it to yourself. Don't even send anything to the other person, because that is where all the power is. If there is only one, and we are only one, and you're sending everything to yourself, which goes against what we've been taught. You know, we've been taught that maybe that's selfish. We're actually amping up our, you know, if you imagine the grid is all these beacons, all these human beacons that actually create the grid, and you're sending everything, all the love and everything to yourself, your beacon is getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, which automatically affects, you know, the other beacons all around you anyway. It works opposite. You know, we've been almost like a vampire type population.
Yeah,
you know, but stealing energy from each other, robbing, all this game playing and everything, you know, to try to feel good about yourselves. And we didn't have to. Like, if you give all of that to yourself, you automatically enter being of service to humanity or to everyone else, you know, minus all of the old programs.
Yeah, at the highest potential too.
Yeah.
Because you have more power, you're more whole. And yeah, that's a really important one. And I think that's something, and Sandra and I,
this is the stuff that we've been told. It's important for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's important for everyone else as well, but we're just sharing our experience.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it today on the show. And you're serving the collective. It's not a right or wrong thing. It's just a sacred geometric equation. You know, to thine own self be true. If you're focusing on something external, you're not focusing on yourself. And you know, we all want to help the collective, and the best way we can do that is to be as whole as possible. We have several questions here. One is, what is your question, Todd? I won't get off without I won't get off without asking.
You're already married, so it can't be that.
What do you think it has something to do with you?
I don't know.
It does. It actually does have something to do with you. Okay. Okay. Here's some more. Hang on. I want to make sure that we. There's a lot of really good comments. Okay. So Jen is asking, do you think you could interview someone who's experiencing Heliosgamos without a divine partner embodied at some point.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I think we may have one.
we do.
I think we do next week.
Oh, we do?
I
Oh, yeah.
think
You're
so,
right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
There was another one here. Hang on a second. Okay. Oop. Okay, let's see here. I hope I didn't pass anybody's up. They're coming in so fast. There was another one here. I keep. Hung says something about Rick Jewers. Is he having Heliosgamos by himself? I love Rick. I'm just playing around. Okay. I can't find the other question. Sorry about that. Okay. So what else you got?
What's your question?
I'm going to tell you in a minute. I'm thinking that there's a couple things we left out. We got told quite a bit of stuff, but I remember one of the really big ones, and this went on for a while, even before the equinox, was continuing. We were continuously being told to bring people that you'd had issues with into your heart, or to make the list, like she talked about at the top of the show. They just kept being put back on us. We kept being shown them over and over again. And I guess that's really what it really gets down to. Oneness is oneness.
And the reason that you have to do it is because you can have 20 years marriage and love this person, and then, things go sour in the last couple of years, and then you get divorced and you end up hating each other. And so by pushing what you once loved away, they were, a beautiful reflection and perfect, you forget all of their gifts. So by pushing our old mirrors away, because we've had a bad habit of focusing on what's wrong rather than seeing all the right. So this is a way to really look for, well, what was right about these people that are no longer part of my life, or who even have rejected me. Any estrangement is those beautiful aspects of them are now lost to you. So by going back and owning all of those beautiful aspects of the mirrors that they were, you create a place of unconditional love. There's not even anything to forgive, but that's just an automatic given. Is you align again with the pure love that you had for every single individual, and more importantly, that those individuals are only a mirror of yourself anyway. So as you push them away, you've been pushing away those great aspects of yourself. Not to mention, okay, so the process that I do, I was taught to many years ago to write down, say, negative attributes of my mirrors, and then clear the polar opposites. And then, I was told, to do the reverse too, but it went into a lot more detail of when you do a list about the positive attributes of somebody, you're actually going to find a deep, like another layer again, or a deeper layer again of hidden unconscious programs or patterns or resistance to yourself again. So by doing that, and not only that, but you automatically, you realign with the love that was, regardless of, any event that's created estrangement or anything anyway. So that was a really, but I actually also think that this is, this is automatically happening. It will automatically happen, and it depends, whether we want to be a conscious creator and take full responsibility and play a role in doing this for ourselves, or we want to sit and wait for all these scenarios to play out where we finally get it. Either way is going to work, really.
Eve Alta said she woke up to a soulgasm last week. She had been merging with the lucid dream man. Would that be a kind of Heliosgamos?
I don't know. To me, it happened last week, but there is no time in dimensions. So you could pull up this man that came to you that you had Heliosgamos with and ask him all the questions that you want to. Whatever we have a dream, if it's a week ago, a month ago, last night, or whatever, pull out the symbol, the main symbol, and have a conversation with it.
Yeah.
And find your own answers. No, I don't mean that. I don't say that to be rude, but like, you know, our answers are there.
Any more questions? Well, I have a question. You ready for my question?
I don't know. Who are you asking?
I'm asking, well, you already agreed to it, right?
Agree to what?
Well, like if we would want to, if you're ready to come on twice a month and do like a Q&A. I mean, we're not like, we're not here to like, are we here?
Oh, but we spoke about that being more specific about
Yeah, not like
how
a
to,
yeah, not a Q&A.
why,
Yeah.
like, or, you know, not something like this, but do a specific.
Yeah, it's different subjects at hand.
You know, how did we get here? What? Yeah, we get a lot of people contact us and say, you know, myself and my partner have been fighting last week. How do we clear that? So we give specific instruction on how we clear things, you know, very quickly, effectively.
Michelle wants to know if you're going to say yes. Somebody said you should do a show on in regard to anxiety and depression.
Yep, easy. Oh, I don't mean to sound, yeah.
And Candace says, please. I mean, I think what we're talking about is coming on twice a month and having a subject or subjects when we do that.
And interactive, like where
Yeah.
people can actually be on there and ask questions direct, like a sharing experience, a joint collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, where it's an even circle. There's no one better than the other. There's, you know, there's no teachers or gurus or any of that sort of stuff, but everyone just shares information. You know.
Yeah, and we can hold up to 100 people in the Zoom room at this time. I experienced that when I've been in contact with my counterpart. My gifts expand rapidly. Is this something you have come across with in other sacred couples that are not in physical union?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so there's this thing, I used to call it soul merging, and I since learned, I think about 10 years ago, that there's an actual real name for it. It's called Heriasgamos. And we do that with every single person we come in contact with all day, every day. The true power happens in the witnessing, in the consciousness of it. So, you know, when you're talking to someone, if you allow yourself to consciously be aware of the merging, the soul merging that's happening between you, it changes. Why are you laughing? It changes it. It changes it up even further. And so just in the consciousness, you're utilizing your power, your imagination, your vision, you know, whatever, to say, yes, I'm agreeing to merge with this other person. And yes, I agree to merge, you know, the whole being or separate chakras or whatever you want to do, then allows for the understanding that, like tuning forks, we can actually tune each other. I know we've told this story lots of times, but I think it's worth saying now. You know, when Todd and I merged, we would merge specific chakras. I merged my throat chakra with his chakra days before I was due to give a talk, like in a group. I think there were only about 20 people, maybe 30 people there. But I was terrified of doing that. Now, in consciously allowing my chakra to merge with his throat chakra, he talked too much. And I didn't talk enough. You know, I was terrified of it. He loved it. He loved all the attention and whatever back then. But we merged the chakras. I was able to go in front of this class with zero fear, absolute confidence. It just happened. And not only that, but that's the point that I automatically started writing poetry, which I'd never written poetry in my life. So we have so much to gain from allowing ourselves to consciously merge with another. Now, I've probably merged with 30 to 40 people. You cannot pick up fear. You cannot pick up any negative vibration. The merging that happens, the souls operate only in pure love. There is no fear in that space. You cannot pick up a lower vibration from another person when you're intentionally allowing your energetic field to merge with another. And I think we're going to do some of this in these talks that we're talking about doing twice monthly, is actually teach people how to do that, how to expand your energy field out and consciously merge with another human being.
So we have a few comments I just thought I'd tell you. Catherine House said she'd love to see a regular show. Denise Chadwick says, please do it twice a month, Morgan. I'd love that type of work or group exercise. Sounds like a yes. Morgan is way less shy now. You go, woman.
Who said that?
Amanda. Morgan has so much great insight. It would be great to hear her take on things. Maybe help for divorced men and women.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Let's see. For people. Oh, Catherine says, for people just understanding this and not as advanced as you two, we would appreciate a Q&A. Yeah. So this is, looks like we're going to do this then. You're the one that has to say yes. They said that you're not shy anymore. So, yeah. Oh, Eve Alta said she merged with their daughter last month.
Beautiful. And we should be doing that.
Mhm.
You know, it's such a fast way. Todd and I spent 18 months talking. We hadn't even met. He didn't even see my face apart from a couple of photos on, but we merged and we merged and we merged, and both of us grew and grew and grew. And we actually cleared the majority of our normal relationship wounds that you might have, you know, when you do meet or start living together. Most of that was done in our merging. So,
Yeah,
you know,
true.
the previous people, and I think you too maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's every time I merged with somebody, it was usually lasted for a 2-week period. At the end of that period, they knew everything that I knew. They knew everything that I knew, because we know it's an energetically, consciously sharing information, sharing codes, awakening each other's DNA or whatever. And Catherine's being a darling because she's my beloved, beautiful sister-in-law. So she has to say nice things like that.
Here's a nice comment from Corrine Norman. She says, I'd love to join in a Zoom Q&A. I'm finding more and more that Soulology resonates with me so deeply. Thank you for all that you are giving to the world. Thank you. And Renata Irene, you know, our friend from Greece, she says, is Morgan a projector? I can feel her.
Yes.
Yes, she is. Actually, I think we both are, aren't we?
I actually, I don't know. I don't know if we're a generator or projector, but we were the same.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, okay, cool. I think that's it. Or you still want to keep going?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your continued love and support and contributions. I'll have to keep doing this every day. And
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Y'all take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.